Theater of the mind. Mindset.
Theater of the Mindset.
Last week on Faith and Fortune, Isarn Halivard and the Custodia Sanguis attacked the Hill of Faith and set fire to Resinium City. Sara faced off with Imogen and, ended their relationship. Harry's platoon gave backup to Asher while Harry kept him from flaring out. And Lucan then went Super Saiyan against Isarn and the cult, bringing the magically inert life to an end. After that, Lucan went on to use his final critical success to rally the Church of Baaz to accept change as its new tenet. We'll pick up in the aftermath.
Following the events of the battle at the Hill of Faith, Venethar and its leaders are put in a tough position. Swift action is in their favor, as they know many members of the Custodia Sanguis were killed or captured in the previous evening. However, knowing that not everyone can be trusted, only a small group of individuals are brought in to plan for the next stage. Harry, Lucan, and Sara have informed Asher and the heads of state present of Tonali's Gate, which has been identified as the next target. The next few hours are spent planning the best way to execute an attack on Tonali's Gate directly. Waiting further only allows the remaining unknown plans of the Custodia Sanguis to brew, ferment, and progress. With that being said, our heroes are badly injured and their armor is damaged and they are at wit's end. As much time as can be spent away from these important meetings, all of that time is spent preparing and resting for the next day when the attack on Tonali's Gate will happen. Asher stands in front of a large map on which countless pieces and flags and marks have been made outlining the plan of attack. So in brief, we will use Venethar's airships to quickly move towards Tonali's Gate. We've got a small group of 2 platoons, a number of Soul Guard, a squad of Arcanus, and the identified extraction team on these airships. You will drop into Tonali's Gate, and priority number 1 is establishing a foothold. This foothold will be centered on a teleportation circle. This will allow the larger groups to immediately appear within Tonali's Gate, things that we're concerned about. We don't fully know the number of people we can expect at Tonali's Gate. We imagine last night seemed to be a large portion of their forces, but we cannot assume their best and brightest were present. The second thing we cannot assume, we do not know of the total number of these inert individuals. As a reminder, magic does not work on inert individuals. That's why we're sending these platoons. Identify inerts and mark them for platoons to take out. They cannot be healed, so any damage to them is more significant than to others. The other things we don't know are where their captured individuals are. There are 2 extraction teams. The first extraction team is a group of Soul Guard who will be focused on pulling out the civilians, the children, and the old and infirm. The second extraction team, comprised of Sara, Lucan, Harry, 1 member of the Soul Guard, and Asher himself, that will be focused on pulling out 1 individual. That is the real incarnate king of Venethar. You are to disregard other potential extraction targets and exclusively go after the incarnate king of Venethar. There is an additional objective. Any information you can pull about how they're doing what they're doing is merely a bonus and should not become a distraction. If you find things, take them. Do not go out of your way to seek them. 1 individual, he pulls up a picture. It is the woman that you saw the previous evening, Sara, and have described to the group. They've identified this individual as Dr. Louise Rausch. We believe she is one of the individuals in charge of the Custodia Sanguis based on the actions we saw her participating in while in the Hill of Faith. What her motives are, what skills she brings to the table are unknown, but identifying her and eliminating her early will cut the head off the snake. From here, we have 3 hours before we leave. Please take this time to ready yourselves or clean up any additional things you need to do before we go. Extractions in 3 hours.
Great. Okay. What a mess. Lucan, how are you feeling?
I'm seeing if I can use Mending Touch on myself. That's how I'm feeling.
I would like to commune, if I could, with Aminette.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an option.
Cool.
You go out to what's known as the Kingswood, which is next to, it's like essentially like a very small central park that is next to the Infinite Hall of the Incarnate King. Tall trees, all of which are Kingswood trees. Underneath each Kingswood tree is buried the body of a previous Incarnate King. And these trees feed on that latent energy inside of that body. The wood is extremely hard. It is common for people to be in here a la Central Park, but given the events of the past week with a riot, an attack, people are kind of staying to themselves right now. So you've got a lot of this place to yourself. And as you walk into the middle of the Kingswood, feel like this might be the only time that you are fully surrounded by nature while within Resinium City.
Sarah finds some shaded cover, and she sits on the ground with her legs crossed, and she forms a circle in the dirt with various pebbles and stones, and she closes her eyes and takes a few deep breaths and channels in and asks, Aminette?
I'm here.
Well done last night.
Aminette does not respond, but you feel a movement of content, like a feeling of being full.
I think we work well together. I think we're a good team.
You are more capable than you give yourself credit for.
Aminette, I have a question. I know about the child that my mother tried to save. And I know about your original deal.
You feel tension.
I know that I need to carry out this mission of my mom's, but I don't know what that's going to look like. And I want to know if and when we find this true Incarnate King, anything you can tell me about what a possible end could be to this scenario, whether it's saving her or something else.
Give me a presence roll. You need to beat an 18.
I crit.
Your rolls are so good. You don't feed me any fear ever.
It's okay. I give you plenty of fear.
Oh my god.
That rules. Fuck your shit.
And Aminette wept. The woods around you, these tall trees shift their branches at their heights, move and sway to a sudden wind, and even down here on the ground, 70, 80 feet below the tops of these trees, you feel a hot desert wind. Aminette takes a moment to respond and says,
The spell holds strong. Call upon it as is your right, and I will answer.
Ahmed, I think through each other we can find our own freedoms.
Are you offering me greater freedom?
Possibly.
Temptation. Sarah Manus Blood, you are becoming a great witch.
And with that, Amanet's presence departs. Give me a instinct roll.
22.
The weight of the primal magic that you have been casting pretty continuously over the last few hours dawns on you. You have helped summon a great smoke spirit. You have pulled a bat out of hell, as it were. You have fought against capable arcanists and cultists, and all of that primal magic should be taking its toll on you. But as Amanet parts and says that you are becoming a great witch, you realize, almost like a runner who is trained for a marathon, you realize that leading up to last night, you have been growing and transforming your primal magic muscles, as it were. And you feel powerful right now. You, Sarah of 5 years ago, doing these things would feel exhausted today and might be bedridden for a week coming out of that powerful of spells. But going into maybe what might be the most important day of your life, you feel more powerful than ever. I was making you roll to see if you were feeling fatigue or a level of anxiety, but you are feeling strong and maybe not refreshed. You are mentally fatigued, but your spirit is strong, and spirit is the most important component in primal magic.
Harry walks outside looking for Sarah, and kind of stays out until he sees her kind of stand up and gather her things, and then just walks up and says, "Were you ever around when my dad told the story of the witch of Estherborne?"
No?
Somewhere out west, deep in a forest, buried between oaks and black walnuts, is a grove of apple trees. A gnarled orchard long forgotten, with morel mushrooms popping up every spring. Just beyond these abandoned apples stands a cottage. I've heard it described as cobblestone house, a log cabin, a Quonset hut. You can pick the imagery you like. It doesn't seem very important. But at one time, a lovely little family tended the orchard. They planted cabbages and potatoes and grew winter squash to store to get through the hard months. The region gets so much snow that it actually buries a well-kept apple tree, which sounds much worse than it is because the snow actually insulates the tree against the much colder temperatures in the air. And this little family was known all around the western Vennethar for the quality of their cider apples. So what most people don't realize is that the quality of the cider depends on the types of apples. You need multiple types. You want some sharp, some sweet, some bitters to balance everything out. Every season they press tons and tons of these apples and move them into barrels and tanks in their barn. That cold weather would lead to a slow fermentation, and it's the cleanest cider you ever had. After a few generations of these cider makers living this land and tending this orchard, twins were born, a boy and a girl. Twins were exceedingly rare in the nearby village, and folks liked to talk. As the twins grew up, they were teased, bullied, something fierce, but the nice thing about being born at the same time is that there's always an ally. Well, time went on, and the twins grew older and older, and eventually the First War of Steel began, and the old soldiers needed more soldiers to get killed, so the new ones would often be easier to be killed than the old ones. So after a while, the old soldiers finally made their way to the orchard, looking for more young soldiers. They found one, crushing apples in a barn. Just barely 15 years old. They took the boy. Well, as upset as the family was, his twin sister was inconsolable. She waited for him to come home. He never did. An army that sends old soldiers to look for young soldiers in the deep woods is an army in the process of losing a war. And lose a war they did. The twin left behind waited for years for their pair to walk back home through the orchard. She prayed to Irisenda for the light and the motherhood and some mercy. She prayed to Oda at the hearth. She prayed to Baaz for some sign of good fortune for her adventuring brother, and she heard nothing. She prayed and she prayed. She burned offerings, still no signs, no message, no brother. Years pass, the girl becomes a woman, but never a bride, never a mother. A spoke in her wheel had broken. And there is a god of spokes. Eventually, the woman's father passed, and that night when the Wainwright passed to collect her father's soul, the woman waited at the road, seeking hope from a god she knew in her heart would offer her none. She implored him to reunite her with her brother, to bring him back to her. But the Wainwright was clear. A wagon only moves in one direction, and they do not return cargo. But the woman didn't cry. She had no more tears, only pain. The woman's hope reuniting with her brother is now replaced with rage, and something moved between the spirits and the earth, trading raw power for her heartache and loss. The Wainwright made his exit on the road as quickly as his wagon could take him. She would spend the rest of her life getting her revenge on the nation that took her brother. Her mycelium spread poisonous mushrooms in the most inconspicuous of places, the orchards. She worked her primal revenge for years until she heard the Wainwright's wheel turning again on the road on another cool spring evening. Sarah, this is the story we have of primal magic and of witches. I need you to tell a better story. And I'm going to relieve all your stress, and you can either clear a hit point or gain a hope with inspiring words. After that, after I meet with Sarah, I head back into like the meeting space as we get prepared.
You see Beanie waiting on a bench outside of the room where you were expected to be. Her arm is in a sling, and...
Hey! What's this?
Oh!
What happened?
Last night there was an attack on the Hill of Faith.
Yep, yeah. Why were you at the... What?
Well, you're referencing...
Yes, the sling.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about what happened, like the big event of the evening.
Yeah.
I didn't know how informed you were.
Pretty informed.
Okay.
Yeah. Just what happened to your arm?
Well, Jack and I went into when we saw the commotion, we went to do something about it. I'm a trained arcanist, I'll remind you, Senator Finch. And so...
Were there a lot of runes around to take care of something?
Runemancy, I think in this moment, looks at, like, maybe the most offended you have ever 100%. Seen her. Runemancy, I stabilized the bridges. Mind you, did you see any bridges on fire?
I just saw
not
on fire.
An accident, Mr. Pinch.
I love it. Okay. But say why the sling then?
Well, this is embarrassing.
All the better.
On my way home, I tripped.
And Jack didn't catch you?
Jack did not catch me, no.
I'll have to talk to him.
And I fell and my shoulder's just sore. It's fine. I did this myself. It will be fine.
Okay. I'm glad you're okay.
I'm more than okay. I'm more than okay.
I'm thankful that you ran in to help, but I'm more glad that you're okay.
I have some important news.
Oh, okay.
It seems as though things are progressing quickly. I'm not sure if you've heard, but Baaz has adopted a new domain.
Yes, I have. Yep, our friend happens to be involved in that.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm kind of... Which friend?
Really? How many friends of Baaz do we have?
How many friends of Baaz do we have that seem to be the God-impacting kind?
Stranger things have happened.
Truly.
Yeah.
I know I'm not in the scene. I'm a prelate. The whole time.
She says, the impact of a god adopting a domain has side effects. And the I don't know if you've noticed, but I also changed my hair.
Yes, it was good. That was the sling distracted me, but that was my next thing.
I appreciate
you
your
started
concern.
talking
Yes.
about other things. I didn't have a chance to bring up the hair.
Yes. Well, adopting change, people are currently filled with extra energy to move forward and adopt change, as it were. And as a result, the vote for the bill of the devolution of the Council of Faith is progressing forward immediately.
Oh no. Okay.
There's going to be a vote
When?
by the end of the day today.
Jesus Christ. We have to go to Tenali. We've got other what?
Senator Pinch,
What?
you are needed here.
Okay. Let me talk to the king. Let me talk to everybody, see what's going on. Okay. All right, you head back to the office. On your way, if you can gather the platoon,
Okay.
have all of them meet back at the Senate.
Okay, I can do that.
I'll be there shortly.
Okay. You see that she and Jack walk off.
Okay. See you later, Jack.
Yeah.
Harry heads back in and looks for Lucan. Where's Lucan?
Lucan is in the meeting room, sitting off by himself. He still looks physically pretty wounded. His fur is back to the normal color. He looks like himself. The physical manifestation of entering the hand of change phase has faded at this point. But there are still lingering wounds from getting punched repeatedly by Isarn, and he is tending to those wounds on his own right now.
Harry walks up and, with great labor, drags a chair loudly across from where Lucan is sitting.
Someone pokes their head in to see. Oh, okay, weird.
Harry, do you need help?
No, I got it. Listen, I came looking for you. Friend, I'm coming for the council. I might actually be coming for the gods as well, technically. We'll see. I don't expect you to defend me or stand by my side through that. You seem to have a lot to explore with Boz. I only would mess up your path through that, but my hope is to move our folks away, our people away from using divine power as our nation's muscle. We abuse it. I want our innate power to be used to help each other and defend ourselves against anyone who would hold a knife to our throat, and that very well might be the knife of the divine. I say all this to say, you, my friend, are far, far more than just a holy bureaucrat now. After last night, you are a symbol of the good in us to call bullshit on the structures of faith when they cause harm. You prove to us that the divine dance requires both the people and the gods. We are needed just as badly as they are. You have so much more to accomplish, and I can't wait to watch. And then he pats him on the shoulder. You can clear 2 stress, a third, and then as well, either another stress, a hit point, or gain a hope.
I am choosing to clear a hit point.
Great.
Lucan has been maintaining eye contact as Harry's been talking to him. Considers for a moment, which is frankly unlike Lucan, to consider anything for a moment. Harry, so much of what you said is correct. And as it pertains to Baaz and the Council of Faith, to the extent I have any say in it, I've now seen what happens when the borderline unchecked power of any one church, and collectively the Council of Faith, is seized. The system works great if everybody is acting in good faith, but all it takes is a few slip-ups. Boz has so much internal work to do as we chart this new path forward. When it comes to the Council of Faith, I have no vested interest in seeing it continue in its current form. Be careful, though. We've both read the proposed devolution. As it's currently written, yeah, it takes some power away from the Council of Faith, from the churches. It also basically lets them do whatever they want internally. And you were there last night. You see what happens when internal doing whatever you want is baked into the process.
Well, on that, I did just find out that I probably won't be joining you on the mission today because the vote's getting moved forward fast, and I plan on doing as much as I can possibly do to absolutely take Damaris out at the knees. So that'll be my job today. So
you serious, Harry?
Yeah. So you guys stay alive on your end. I'll stay alive on my end.
Okay.
All right.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Lucan steps in to embrace Harry, and in so doing, slips from his pocket the Flower of Venethar game piece from his encounter with Boaz. In the embrace, he whispers to Harry, "Please, again, don't forget that there are some gods out there who are trying to do good. Just keep that in mind, please."
I will. All right. Good luck. I'll see you when you get back.
You too.
You want to spend a fear you don't have?
I can still progress. I can still progress time. I don't need a
I'm like in my thing right now, and I'm feeling froggy.
This is what happens when there's a scene that's mostly the player characters. Yeah. We tend to get in a space of we don't need the GM anymore.
Yeah, right.
Harry goes off to find Asher.
Inside the Infinite Hall of the Incarnate King, there is a hallway and a room. This massive hallway has 20-foot tall stained glass windows depicting each of the incarnations that the king has undergone. Oren Theophilus Zimri, an elderly elven man who became the avatar of the god of Leyten, chronicling out immense tomes of knowledge, raising Venethar up as a center for technology and progress. You see Emmett Theophilus Zimri, who forged the Tower of Nemesis, in which the ritual of harmonization is conducted, allowing him to sort, order all of his life's memories and prevent madness. You see Yer Theophilus Zimri, in one of her hands a sword dripping in blood, and in the other hand the scales of justice, documenting the time when she eliminated corruption from the upper echelons of Venethar. Each of these depictions are strength, are wisdom, and all depict the same soul. Their eyes remain the same as their skin, their ancestry, their shapes change. The eyes remain the same throughout all of these images. Walking down this hallway, you cannot escape the feeling of someone who is more powerful, who has seen more, who knows more, who has lived more than you could ever comprehend. His soul is 1,300 years old. At the end of this hall is a small door. Unremarkable, unnoticeable if you don't know what you're looking for. And this is where Harry finds himself. On the other side of this door is the king's private chambers. Upon opening it, you see Asher standing in front of an easel, his fingers dark with charcoal as he creates. His face is focused. He looks determined. He does not notice you enter.
Harry does just a polite knock. My lord, do you have a moment?
Harry, hello. Yes, he sets down the charcoal that he is working with and kind of rubs his hands on an apron that he's wearing, covering his royal vestments. Is something wrong?
No, nothing's wrong. Well, you and I both know that's not true as Harry closes the door behind him.
He kind of looks at his work that is turned away from you at the moment, and kind of gestures to a sitting table. Please sit. Something that I've done to kind of help me focus is.
Great. How are you feeling?
That is a complicated question.
How have how have you progressed since the last night at the end of a big fight where you and I had a long conversation in front of a lot of people?
I know you didn't spend as much time as I did at Venethar University, but a significant amount of my classes were spent on mindset. Before a big mission like this, I don't feel anything. I've got to be ready.
Okay.
This is maybe the most important thing I'll do.
Okay. And what is that?
I am the king of Venethar, but I am not the person everyone thinks I am.
No, you're not.
And I don't understand it, and I don't... Harry, I want to know who I am.
Boy, don't we all. I have no answers for you on that. I do have a rebuttal to one thing you said. That you have the most important thing you have to do. I think you have a lot more most important things to have to do. You're younger than I am. I have a lot more most important things that I have to do. So I need you to do what you have to do today and know that that's the most important thing you have to do next. Yesterday you said you didn't want to be king. You yelled it. You said it was a shame. I say fine.
I spoke loudly.
I think that's fine. If that's what you want, that's fine. It seems to me, though, that Asher Theophilus Zimri has been the king of Venethar since I was a child. And two things have been true in that time. He hasn't been some incarnated person that he was supposed to be. But what was also true is he was the everyman king. A fine king, one of our best. So I'm not sure what all this stained glass matters. What's that supposed to be about? What's that supposed to do? Some person that's incredibly powerful, generations ago, 1,000 years ago, decided that because they're powerful, they get to be in charge. They get to write the laws. If you don't want a crown, become a keeper. Spend the rest of your life with me working to make damn sure no one can hold us hostage again. Keep the memories, reinstate the line of Zimri if you want to, I don't care. The memories need to speak to power, they don't need to hold it. Expand the Senate. 300 people with tighter laws will be much harder to manipulate. Bring the council to advise and support. Do whatever you think is right with the future. But right now you are the king. You are our king. And I'm so proud of the king you are. And I also want to relieve 2 stress, clear another stress hit point, or give Asher a hope as my last sort of bard bullshit of the morning.
Harry, I've read the Divine Codex 100 times. I, Asher Theophilus Zimri, for what all that's worth. Asher, maybe just Asher.
Harry shrugs.
Have read the Divine Codex 100 times. I remember, for what that's worth, writing it. The immortal soul, the being that is reincarnated, is prophesied to be a thorn in the side of the nothing, the great end of all of existence, greater than any Custodius Sanguis, any murderer, any mass casualty event. The nothing is the end of everything. That soul will lead the people of Venethar and be a thorn in the side of the nothing. Is what I can accomplish worth sacrificing that? Is what the next keeper of Venethar worth sacrificing that for?
How often do prophecies come exactly true? And how often are we accurate with
I'm not going to debate the nuances of prophecy with you, because there doesn't have to be a nuance if they are in charge.
You are guessing and hoping that you get a prophecy right and are going to make a decision based on your guesses and hopes that you can guess what is needed for Venethar sometime between now and 1,000,000 years from now. When I can look, you can look, we can look at what's happening, the way our country has been held hostage, the way you have been held hostage and manipulated, the way the Council of Faith has and the Senate has, and we can make changes right now today to affect that, versus someone said a thing that's going to happen someday, so we better not change anything too much. We better keep this line in place, just in case that thing happens sometime soon. I can solve problems right now. I can't solve problems in 200 years. I can't solve problems in 500 years. I know theoretically some soul can, but they can do it. You are a powerful motherfucker. And odds are good, so is this reincarnated person. They're going to do what they can do, regardless of whether there's a crown on their head, whether they're born somewhere near the Erd tribes, whether they're born anywhere in this country, they can do whatever the hell they want. I've seen it. I've seen you move. So I'm not convinced. I can't convince you to do anything, but this is where I'm at. All I know is we can change things that we can change. You're the king. I'm your fun uncle and a fairly low-ranking senator.
And pretty unfun right now.
Oh, come on.
In this moment, my whole life, I've been two people. I have been Asher, who is trying his hardest to be kind, to lead with integrity, and to make up for perceived past mistakes. But I am also, at least in some capacity, the king, and have to put the needs and the priorities of the kingdom ahead of my own. As Asher, I cannot say thank you enough, Harry, for everything you have done to make me who I am today. From words of advice to being an example of what it means to be a great politician to being my beer guy. Thank you. And as your king, you have given me a lot to consider.
Harry begins to walk out, hands on the door, and then turns around and repeats what he told Asher 20-some years ago outside a cave in Lake Borland. Decisions are only going to get harder from here on out, but they're yours to make. Go ahead and make them.
You've been listening to Faith and Fortune by Theater of the Mindset. Our actual players this season are Steve Ettinger, Shelby Myers, Nick Traeger, and your kind and generous GM, Justin Gerardo. Audio engineering, post-production, and scoring is done by Nick Traeger at Studio 3607. If you're enjoying the show, you can help us grow with no capital investment by sharing it with a friend, following us on Instagram and Reddit, writing us a review on your favorite podcatcher, or you can chip in for coffee at our Patreon. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on Theater of the Mindset.